Hello guys, this tutorial is going to go through the IKFK setup on the ARM. Let me start with creating very simple controllers. Go to create nervous primitives circle. Okay, let's make it bigger by grabbing all the vertex and scale them. I can then rename it AC left FK shoulder. Okay, now copy its name, group it, and paste the name here and give it a GRP behind the name. Now I can duplicate this one and then move it away just to reserve this setup so I can always go back and grab it. Now let me grab my original one there, select the group here and then the shoulder joint, and then do a modify, match transformations, and match all transformation. That will match the transformation of the controller and its group here, and then match them with the transformation of the shoulder joints, so they are exactly right on top of each other and their orientation are aligned too. Okay, good. Now what I can do is grab all the vertex on my controller, rotate it, or do anything I want to change the shape of this controller, for example, like that. Okay, so that's the shoulder. Let's go back and grab the reserved controller again, duplicate it, and then shift select the elbow. Again, select the group first, the group of the controller first, and then the elbow joint. Let's do that again. Modify, match transformations, match all transforms. And then I need to grab all the vertex there and then rotate it so that it appears to be aligned with the joint. The shape of this controller doesn't actually matter, but we need to make it looks nice and easier to read. Okay, so that's the elbow controller. I can now start renaming it, so that this one will be the elbow. Go inside of it. We also need to rename the controller underneath it. Okay, last one there. For the wrist, grab the reserved one again, duplicate it, and then select the wrist joint, do a modify, match transformations, match all transforms. It's the same thing. When you're matched, just grab the vertex on the controller and rotate them any way you want to match with the shape or orientation of the joint, like that. Okay, but no matter how you rotate the vertex, it's not gonna affect how those things will function in the later on, but they will make them look different. So what we need is we want to make them look like the controllers they are. Like this one should look like the controller that is controlling the wrist, right? If it's far away or having a interesting shape, then it's not gonna help us at all. Just keep it simple and nice like that. Okay, now I have those three FK controllers. Let me rename my FK real quick. This one will be the wrist. Cool. Now I have finished my FK controllers. I need to create the FK controllers now. For the wrist, it's very simple. All you have to do is grab the controller on the wrist from FK, duplicate the group, and then grab the controller. Let's just make it different. And mostly we can do is grab those 4 vertex here and then scale them down, go to the offset direction until we get something like this, and then we can use this as the FK controller. Okay, now let's name this one AC left FK wrist, and then also the group need to rename AC left IK wrist group 2. Okay, that's the IK wrist controller. I need one more for the elbow, and this one I want it to look more fancier. So I'm gonna go to create curve to CV curve tools, go to the settings and change the curve degrade to 1 linear. And then let's go to top view. Oh, it's really hard to see. Anyways, let's just go to the grid here. It doesn't have to be the top view. Again, create curve to CV curve to. Now holding down X button, and let's start from here. And 2 unit forward, and then 1 unit left, and then go a 45 degree line to the center, and then to the other side, go back and create an arrow shape. And let's keep going from there and create another one. It's the same pattern, so I can keep going like that and eventually ends up with something like this. Okay, this one will be my AC left IK elbow. Okay, now let's group it and name this one AC left IK elbow GRP. Great. Now we can also reserve this one, just duplicate it and move it away. Let's grab my original one there, and I want to match it on my reference plane there. So let's unhead the reference plane I asked you guys to do, and then grab the elbow group here. And then, oh, before we grab it, we also need to make the reference plane here, make it live. Okay, and then grab the IK elbow GRP, and then just grab the middle circle here and to the plane that will actually snap the controller right there. And all you have to do is grabbing it to somewhere behind the elbow. Basically anywhere on the plane should be working, but you want it to be far away from the elbow, like that, and on the plane also. Okay, when that is done, you can uncheck the live of the plane and then head the reference plane, and then also we can now start dragging the vertex there. Let's make them straight, or to be more fancier than that, we can also have soft selection on and then have a nice fall off of there and then drag things back to form a nice curvature. But those things doesn't actually affect the result, it's only making things look different. Okay, now that's my AC left elbow controller. Now I have both IK and FK controller created. Okay, now it's time to apply controls. For FK it's very easy, just grab the FK controller here and then the shoulder FK controller and then the shoulder joint, do a constraint. Let's go to rigging, constraint, or in constraint. If you're doing everything right from the beginning to all the way here, you shouldn't need the maintain offset to apply. Okay, let's do the same thing here, the elbow and then the elbow joint, apply, and then the wrist and wrist joint, apply. Okay, no maintain offset because they're aligned perfectly. Now FK works just like what you expected, but there's one more thing we have to do, which is the hierarchy of the FK. Right now they're separated in 3 individual folders. What I want you to do is open those folder or group. You want to parent the FK wrist, the group of the FK wrist to the FK elbow controller. Okay, P, and then the group of FK elbow controller to the FK shoulder controller. Okay, what that does is now my wrist controller is underneath its own group, but that group will be underneath the elbow controller, and then the elbow controller will be underneath its own group, and that group will be underneath the FK shoulder controller. Or you can see there's one group, one controller, another group, another controller, all the way down. Okay, the reason we need those groups is now those groups takes care of the offset of the controllers, so I can keep the controller very clean in their channels. The reason we don't do phase transformation for that is because our rig is not a perfect T-pose, so phase transformation may mess up their orientations. Okay, good. Now with that done, we can now move on to, let's check that, now FK works. We can now move on to the IK part. For IK, it's also very simple. We need a IK handle, and that IK handle will be a rotate plane solver. Click on the shoulder and then the wrist to create the IK handle. Now let's rename this IK handle left arm. Okay, now parent the IK handle to the IK controller like that. Okay, now if I drag my IK handle works. And then last thing I need to do is use the IK controller on the elbow, the IK elbow controller, to do a pull vector constraint on the IK handle. So grab the controller and then grab the IK handle. Go to constraint, pull vector. Okay, when you do that, if you set up everything correctly, you shouldn't see the skin or the joint move at all when you apply the pull vector constraint. That's a requirement. Okay, if yours pops, that means at some point you messed up their alignment. So either the FK is not aligned with the FK controller perfectly, or the IK is not set up in a perfect straight line way in the front. Either way, you may have a bad result because of, you know, all sorts of reasons. So be really careful about that. If you have any issues on those things, you can always find me, we can talk about it. Okay. If I do the IK, you see now I'm trying to rotate my FK. My FK is not working because the IK is actually override what FK does. So to blend between IK and FK, I can actually change the values on the IK handle from 1 to 0. If I change that, then my FK will be working. But go there and change the value here will become really hard to do because it's, you know, deep underneath the IK controller. So I need to have another controller to, you know, switch that. And this time I will go for a slider. Let's go create a nervous circle. Okay. And then in the attribute editor, open, let's go to the transform node, open limit information, and then open translate. I don't want it to be able to move on either Y or Z direction. So everything here in the Y and Z needs to be checked and zeroed out. Okay, so limit minimum will be 0, maximum will be 0 on both Y and Z. That means now if I try to move them, move the controller on Y or Z direction, I cannot move it because there's limitations. For X direction, I want it to be able to move from 0 to 1, and the reason for that is because my IK blend is ranging from 0 to 1. Okay, now I can drag the controller only that much. It appears to be really good, really big for a 0 to 1 range, so I'm gonna scale the vertex and make them smaller. Okay, so that's that. And then I also need a range to indicate, you know, where this slider is. It's actually very simple. Just go to create curve tools, CV curve 2. Let's go to the settings and use one linear. Holding down X, click on the origin and then 1 unit to the right. That creates a line that is 1 unit long, and I know that my controller can only move 1 unit on the X direction. So this line is a perfect indication of how long my controller can move and where my controller is on the range. One last thing I want to do for this line is make it templated so we cannot select it by accident. with its line selected, just go to display, transform this, object display, and then template. That will template the line for me. If I drag there, I cannot select it anymore, but it will be visible. Okay, now with those two created, let's rename this one AC left elbow, left IK, left arm, IK FK blend, and then let's just call it the same name with a range. Okay, now select both of those, group them together. Let's call it AC left arm IK FK blend GRP, meaning group. Okay, now I have the slider. I just want to make it bigger and then move it wherever I want it to be. A good idea would be move it somewhere behind or on top of the arm. Snap it to the joint there and then move it and rotate it. You can do any transformation there you want on the group of the controller. They will always work. If you now drag the controller and try to move it 1 unit, it's really hard to see. It will still remain 1 unit, and it still goes through this range no matter how big they're being scaled, or how small they're being scaled down. They will always looks exactly like what they are before. Okay, so that's the slider. And to make the slider follow my arm, I can grab the arm joint, this one there, and then the group of the slider, okay, constrain, parent constraint with maintain offset, apply. Okay, now that means if I grab my controller and rotate it, see now this slider follows it. Okay, so now the slider is in position. It's time to use it to do something. And what I want it to do is I want to use the slider to control my IK FK blend. To do so, let's open the node editor here real quick. And then I need my controller in, my slider in, with the slider selected. Let's press that add node button to add that node to the graph. That's the shape node, so we don't have to worry about that. All we need is this translation node. And I also need the IK handle there. Grab the IK handle and then put it in also. Okay, now click on the controller, the slider there, click on the dot on the output part, then go to translate X and use translate X, and then drag it and click here on the IK handle left arm, and I want that to control IK blend. When that is done, if I have my slider back there, you grab the IK handle, you see now the IK blend is 0. If I drag it all the way up to 1, then the IK blend will be 1. So now the value on the translation X will be controlling the value on the IK blend value on my IK handle. So now I can blend between IK and FK by just drag this slider. Okay. Now one more thing I want to do before we wrap up is that I want also the controller to control the visibility of those controllers. So now if I am in FK mode, I don't want to see my IK controller. On the other hand, if I'm in IK mode, I don't want to see my FK controller. Okay, now let's see, my FK controller will be this one. They're all underneath this shoulder group. My IK controller, I have 2 of them, the wrist one, this one, and the elbow one, which is this one. Let's have both of them selected and group them and call this one AC left arm IK GRP for left arm IK controllers. It's already here, but if yours is not, if yours is not, you just need to drag it to the graph. And then you also need the FK controllers group, which is the shoulder group here for the FK controller. Those two groups, if you drag them side by side and then select them and press 3 button on the keyboard, we can open them and see they have the visibility attribute we can control. And the good thing is visibility is also can be controlled by 0 and 1. If the visibility is 0 there, then it's gonna be invisible. If it's 1, it's gonna be visible again, right? So I can use it for the I can use the same value on my slider to control the visibility of my IK and FK controller. Now for IK, I just need to connect my my translation. I'm not sure why my translation is wrong. It's 1, okay. It's 0. That's weird. Okay. Okay, that's actually true. I think I'm just too tired to look at those stuff. So yeah, I'm using translation X to control the IK-FK blend. Okay, now I need the same thing to control the visibility of the IK. If I go there, my IK will disappear because my slider is now 0. That means the IK blend will be 0, meaning IK is not doing anything, and that's why I need the IK controller to disappear. Now if I grab my FK is doing everything I needed. Okay. On the other hand, when my IK is showing up, when I drag it all the way to the front to 1, then you see that the IK turns out visible again. I need the FK disappear in its stage. So I need a node called reverse to reverse the result of the translation X, and then apply that on the visibility of the FK part. Now to toggle this on, just press the tab button on the keyboard, tab, and then type in the things you need, like reverse, and you can create one like that. Let's open it. I want the translation X to be input X, the output X goes to visibility. Okay. If you do that, then you see the FK disappears. If you drag the slider, you can see you can now toggle between IK and FK. And that's the mechanic that is supporting that. We're using the translation X to control 3 things: the visibility of the IK, the visibility of the FK, and then the IK blend attribute on the IK handle. That's how the slider is controlling those things. And that's as far as we go in class today, so I'm gonna stop here. And it's not finished, but I think it's a good time to stop and then, try to apply the knowledge here on the other side of the arm. So please do that, and that's the assignment for next class. So finish that before next class. I guess that's it. See you guys in class.